The Irish were once known as the most prosperous and happy people in the world, until their way of life was destroyed by the British Empire. This is the tragic story of the Irish Great Hunger, also known as the Irish Potato Famine, that lasted from 1845 to 1852. Prior to the 1840s, Ireland was doing quite well. They had plenty of food, and the economy was strong. The Irish exported around 6 million pounds of food each year, including over 1 million barrels of beer. However, this all changed when a fungus known as Phytophthora infestans arrived on European potatoes and caused them to rot. Although the fungus only killed the potatoes in Ireland, the rest of Europe was able to find alternative sources of food. But this was not the case for Ireland, who depended on the potato as their primary source of food. This meant that as the potato crops failed, the Irish people began to starve. To make matters worse, the British government did not want to help the starving Irish. You see, since the 1700s, the British had been draining the Irish economy to fund their wars in Europe. By the 1840s, Ireland was essentially a British colony with an economy that was completely dependent on exporting food to Britain. In fact, at the time, the British Prime Minister said that the purpose of the Irish was to keep the English well-fed. So when the potato famine hit, the British government saw it as an opportunity to get rid of the Irish people once and for all. They did this in 3 ways. First, the British blocked the ports to prevent the starving Irish from leaving the country. Second, they refused to lower taxes, which made food and medicine unaffordable for the Irish. And third, they spent very little money to help the Irish, even though it would have only cost them about £3 million to feed the entire country. Instead, the British spent that money on military force to put down rebellions in India and China. As a result, over 1 million Irish people starved to death, while another million became seriously ill, and many more were left homeless. The Irish quickly went from being the most prosperous and happy people in the world to the most miserable and hated people in the British Empire. After the famine, the Irish began to hate the British and demanded independence. But the British refused and said that they would rather have a famine than Irish freedom. To learn more about this, stay tuned.